The race baiter's crazy. You know how in our world right now, athletes are starting to feel themselves, right? The dance, Trump, everything else, right? You know what? I was thinking about it today. Who's there to be mad at you anymore? What is awful announcing? Or your local newspaper going to write an article that you're a bad guy? Oh, the horror. Race baiting clowns like Bomani Jones, Mike Freeman, Sarah Spain, et al. What are they doing? They're moving on. And they've been neutered. I mean, seriously. Oh, my God, I can't believe awful announcing is going to write an article on me. Oh, no. Oh, no. Bomani Jones is going to get mad at me. Oh, no. Oh, no. So athletes like never before are coming out and saying, screw it. I'm going to dance. I'm going to show a shirt that says MAGA or Trump or whatever. The whole situation, though, doesn't stop the race baiters from race baiting. The aforementioned Bomani Jones back at it. It's got him nuts. No, it really does. It's got the entire race-baiting African-American media, not all the African-American media, because most are great dudes, but it's got the entire race-baiting African-American media upset. Very, very upset. Why? As I just said, you got two fat white dudes as the best player in the NBA, and you got a white dude, quarterback, that looks like he is going to supplant Lamar Jackson or Patrick Mahomes as MVP. Now, personally, for my taste, I'll take Patrick Mahomes today, tomorrow, the next day. But you know what? A white dude can claim Patrick Mahomes. I've never understood that. I get it. Black father, white mother. I don't know. The brothers, the race-baiting brothers, gravitate more to Lamar Jackson. But there's no denying Patrick Mahomes is the man. All right, failed TV host, Bomani Jones, I would add failed streamer, failed radio host, tried to get in front of the NFL MVP talk by pushing the idea that Josh Allen is only in the MVP conversation, wait for it, because he's a cock, because of favoritism. And the media thinks he's great because he's white, thus the word cock. Arguing in favor of black athletes and against white athletes. Really, I'm stunned by this. Really? I mean, look, it's the last bastion for Bomani Jones. Bomani Jones, I thought, was an up-and-comer great. I did. The Right Time with Bomani Jones. Slick. All right. Then they gave him TV shows with kind of the douchebag that is Pablo Torre. That didn't work. Gave him a radio show in the afternoons, and affiliates are like, yo, hold on here. We got money to make. We don't have to take that. See, when you're an affiliate, you got to take one ESPN show. The one that I worked for chose to take Lebitard at one point after taking Greenberg at another. And I got to tell you, they were both disasters, but nothing was a bigger disaster than Bomani Jones. Oh, anyway, here's Bomani Jones. He has tried for several seasons now to make a race war out of Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. There is no race war. They're both really good quarterbacks. When one plays better, they'll win the MVP, and that's been Jackson. Hoping it'd catch fire like Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese. You remember Angel Reese, the barnacle on the ass of Caitlin Clark, trying so hard to stick to Caitlin Clark, always bringing up Caitlin Clark so that she can coast along like a barnacle, really, on the bottom of a ship. Anyway, it hasn't done. It hasn't caught. Bomani Jones, it hasn't caught. Now, maybe one of the two needs to dress in little booty shorts, walk around shaking their ass, show their boobies. I don't know. That seems to have worked for Angel Reese. I don't think it's going to work for these two. NFL, for the most part, is about performance. NFL, for the most part, is about, you know what? You get out there, you take a bunch of hits, you come back the next play, and then in the last 2 minutes of the game, you either win it for your team, like Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Josh Allen do, or you don't, which is basically what the rest of the NFL does. But if you do it, then you're in the MVP conversation. We certainly saw Josh Allen do it. We've seen the other two that I've mentioned do it numerous times. In doing so, Bomani has repeatedly accused the media of favoring Josh Allen because he is white, targeting Jackson because he is black. However, both arguments are meritless. I mean, look, the dude's won a couple MVPs. Josh Allen hadn't won squat. I would say this to the honest media out there. They've said this. I saw this almost immediately. In fact, I saw this from a lot of Bills fans, including our friend Aaron Perini, when she said, hey, great win, no more undefeated teams, but we all understand this is about the playoffs. Of course, everybody does, except when you're baiting. Except when you're race baiting, baby. Bomani Jones, Lamar had a bad game today. Allen was good, not great, but they knocked off an undefeated team. That's all you need to turn A1 into the MVP discussion. That's his little way. See, you got to understand race baiters have these little codes, slick, jack, A1. I mean, they got all these little words. That's his thing for Josh Allen. Calls him A1. Like he's a little bit below the rest. Hey, maybe he's right. With somebody popping in with, hey, what about Jared Goff? See what he's doing there? He's bringing in another white dude. I'd put Jared Goff in there. His team's winning. Seriously, why not? Hell, is Christian McCaffrey playing any good? Bring all the white dudes in. We got a white receiver going, Cooper Kupp going at all? Screw him. Who cares? Bomani Jones, Mike Freeman, and the rest get mad about nothing. He might as well get mad when we go this route. Put them all in there. Do it all. With someone popping in about, hey, what about Jared Goff? See how cool he is? He calls it popping in. That means he's cool. See? You, too, can produce sports television. Well, I mean, you sound like it's simple. You sound like producing sports television is simple by saying all that. Then why haven't you done better at it? We all know. Anyway, other than Aaron Rodgers, no player in the NFL is criticized more than Josh Allen. Oh, there's no doubt about it. That started when he came out and apparently put some tweets out when he was like 6. And everybody got all upset. Everybody got mad. Oh, my God, look at this. Oh, my God. Josh Allen has been criticized up and down. And wait for it. He will be far more criticized than anybody else should his team not get to the Super Bowl. I will say this, though, and this is where I love the NFL. Lamar Jackson's criticized, no question, because you can't beat Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. Oh, wait a second, that's black on black. We can't talk about that. Now, if the Steelers had a white coach and dominated Jackson that way, that would be considered racist to say that Lamar Jackson, according to these idiots, that Lamar Jackson can't beat the Steelers. But I got cover here because Mike Tomlin's black, so I can say that. That's how stupid this whole thing is. This how asinine this whole thing is. And it comes from dudes that never play. Bomani Jones couldn't play with himself. Mike Freeman of the USA Today couldn't play with himself. Sarah Spain views herself as some kind of big fat athlete at Cornell. My ass. Mina Kimes couldn't play with herself. None of these dudes have ever been in a locker room for real other than to maybe gawk at a pee-pee, get an autograph, or ask a question. If they were, they would understand that there isn't a soul in these locker rooms that gives a rat's ass about race, performance, particularly in the NFL, is what matters. See, the NFL is the one place you can get killed. If you're a left guard and you let Chris Jones in full speed and he hits your quarterback full speed, that quarterback can die. Dudes rely on each other. So they don't give a rat's ass about black, white, green, or purple. But you know what? Bomani does. Well, of course he does. Never been in a locker room. And he's trying really hard now. Dominic Foxworthy, who has been in a locker room, admitted on air, this is ESPN's finest, scrawniest, most ridiculous, he roots for Josh Allen to fail. Mike Greenberg discussed the unfair criticism against Allen in the following feature. We focus more on one bad play Josh Allen makes every week than the 60 that almost no one else in history possibly could. It's a little hyperbolic, but we get the point. His team would be so bad if they didn't ask him to do absolutely everything. He's the most unfairly judged player in the league, but that doesn't matter. To the race baiters, never been in a locker room. When they are, they take a little peek at the peepees. Bomani Jones at all. Well, that don't matter because that don't sell the goods. It don't get him right time with Bomani Jones. It don't get him sitting across from Pablo Torre discussing, I don't know, penis sizes. I don't know. Best questions to ask. You know what I mean? That's all they can. Now they're ridiculous. I kind of dig it, though. I do. I kind of dig it. I dig the fact that they're crazy. See, I am inclusive. I believe it takes all kinds. I don't want to listen to a bunch of fat old white guys. I don't want to listen to a bunch of young, skinny old white guys. I want to listen to everybody. You go, Slick. Right time. Bomani Jones. Failed crazy, man. And I don't know if he's failed or not. I got to tell you, I don't know that Keith Olbermann's failed. Keith Olbermann and Dan Patrick will remain iconic to a lot of people, many people, for their Sports Center shows, the yin and yang, that type of thing. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if he's failed. He did a bunch of stuff after, was pretty good. Now he's just simply deranged. I'm talking about Keith Olbermann. He's going on an offensive. Think about this from Captain Crazy. He's going on an offensive attacking Morning Joe. Oh, no. The infighting. No. He's mad at Joe Scarborough, and I believe this lady Minka is his wife. Now, full disclosure, I think Morning Joe has a punchable face. I do. Minka isn't hot enough to catch my attention. I'm sorry. You want to know what I watch and why I watch it? That's two of the reasons. I always knew, and I can always tell, I am a voicist and a facist. I can tell much by people's voices. Somebody calls my radio show, and I'm like, yo, you're a little biatch. Get off my line. And I can tell by faces whether people are secure, insecure, whatever. And I've always thought those two are full of shit. I always have. Don't know, don't really watch, but it got confirmed. So as soon as the election's over and the ratings are absolutely in the tank, they decided to go down to Mar-a-Lago. Good for Donald Trump for giving them an audience, which is exactly what it was. Bad for them for crawling back. Now, I don't know, Trump's a married man. I don't know who brought the knee pads. I don't know that they get down like that, but you get the point of them going down there. It is to kiss the ring, to hope to get back in good graces. Now remember, they went crawling back to a man that they labeled a fascist. How about that? Next thing you know, you got to ask questions. What's going on? Are they trying to smooth relationships? Or have they caught wind, which they have, of how abysmal their ratings are and realize Americans won't tolerate their slanderous coverage of the Don anymore? Now, I would argue a little bit of both. I would argue we got to get back in good graces, man. Yo, hey, this dude's going to be the president. And business is bad when you get on television and constantly lie and pander. Now, think about those two if you really want to make the case. Joy Reid, who's the biggest idiot in television, she ain't going nowhere. African-American woman, you kidding me? Ain't no chance you're firing that. But these two, middle-aged white dudes, woo, you better go kiss a ring. You better hope that Donald comes on your show. You need something, baby. I don't know when sweeps is. I think it's in May. But, hey, you need yourself a little bit of something. The liberal commentator and former NSNBC host, Keith Olbermann, wrote, I've said Scarborough was the worst person I've ever encountered in this business. He proves me right year after year. Now, I got to tell you, it is not a criticism when Keith Olbermann criticizes you. In fact, in reading that yesterday as I was going through it with the Flying Knicks, I got to tell you, I kind of thought more of whatever her name is and whatever his name is. I did. I'm like, hey, if Keith Olbermann's criticizing you, you're doing okay. Now you're doing just fine. Olbermann also wrote Scarborough and Brzezinski's has now become and we're talking about Leonardo da Vinci. It's in reference to the French state regime that collaborated with Nazi occupiers during the Second World War. I really should have stayed awake. I should have stayed awake in history class. I would have known that. Thanks to the Flying Knicks for dropping that dime on me, yo. The disgusting married duo of Minka and Joe, well, they revealed Monday morning that they had got on their hands and knees like dogs, and crawled to Mar-a-Lago to meet with President-elect Donald Trump to restart communications. Interesting. Less than a month after Minka claimed Donald Trump was killing women. How about that? How ridiculous. See, we told you this as the election was going on. They're throwing things at the wall, weird, Nazi, fascist. See what sticks. He's killing us, Mika told her brain-dead, blue-haired lesbian MSNBC audience, October 24th. Fast forward to Monday, November 17th, and what these two revealed weeks after Trump destroyed Harris in the election. Here it is.
And even said we would appreciate the opportunity to speak with the president-elect himself. On Friday, we were given the opportunity to do just that. Joe and I went to Mar-a-Lago to meet personally with President-elect Trump. It was the first time we have seen him in 7 years.
Now, we talked about a lot of issues, including abortion, mass deportation, threats of political retribution against political opponents, and media outlets. We talked about that a good bit. And it's going to come as no surprise to anybody who watches this show, has watched it over the past year or over the past decade, that we didn't see eye to eye on a lot of issues, and we told him so.
What we did agree on was to restart communications. My father often spoke with world leaders with whom he and the United States profoundly disagreed. That's a task shared by reporters and commentators alike. We had not spoken to President Trump since March of 2020, other than a personal call Joe made to Trump on the morning after the attempt on his life in Butler, Pennsylvania. In this meeting, President Trump was cheerful, he was upbeat, he seemed interested in finding common ground with Democrats on some of the most divisive issues. And for those asking why we would go speak to the president-elect during such fraught times, especially between us, I guess I would ask back, why wouldn't we?
They're pathetic, these two. And tell me that's not a punchable face. No, I meant him, not her. I mean, that's pathetic. These people are pathetic. Like, you call this guy all these names. Why didn't you try to talk to him again after the shooting? Why don't you be human beings? Dude just got shot, and afterwards you're saying he's trying to kill people? People tried to kill him? No, these people are disgusting. And America knows that MSNBC, like NBC, is getting absolutely drilled in the ratings. MSNBC down a quarter, 23% year over year. CNN, which they both should be, is down 40%. As for primetime numbers, NBC down 54%. Maddow's ratings last week were off by 1 million viewers compared to October. And if you dig deeper, viewers under 54. Maddow's ratings last week were the worst since April 2022. Add it all up, and the writing's on the wall. Minka and Joe decided to bend the knee and visit Hitler and ask for his forgiveness. How pathetic. Not really. I mean, I've told you this. It was a Trojan horse. It was hollow. There was nothing inside anything the Democrats were doing. And it made me actually sad because I have a lot of friends that came at me. I have one friend, he lives in Hollywood, that's like, I can't talk about it now after MFing everything and everyone. I feel sad for them because they're stupid. I didn't think they were stupid. But if you couldn't see through all the nonsense, I get it. You hate Donald Trump. I understand you hate him. Great. Yay, rah. But that's just dumb. There was nothing said in this election by the Democrats that meant anything whatsoever. Nothing. Zero. Zip. Weird. Okay. Nazi, please explain. Gonna kill women. Really? Our rights are taken away. How? Honest to God, not one thing. And then you trot out the dumbest, weirdest guy and gal in the history of candidates, and you're surprised you lost everything? I'm surprised almost 49% of the country voted for these idiots. I feel bad for that percentage. Anyway, we move it along, but tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong that there was anything that the Democrats stood for that would make reasonable, informed United States citizens vote Harris. There wasn't, period. Skip Bayless is finally firing back. Skip Bayless, he got what you get when you deal with snakes. See, back in the day, Stephen A. Smith was on radio. Once in a while, I'd be driving to my show. I would forget. I thought Steve Saban was still on with his national show. Sabes was awesome. I clicked it on. Stephen A. Smith. Boom. One day, he was gone. Found out he had been fired. I'm like, thank God that's the last we see of that idiot. Oh, was I wrong? Stephen A. Smith is now, well, on every moment of every day, and he's trying really hard to be president of the United States. Great. Well, how did he get back in the fold? He got back in the fold because Skip Bayless put him back. Skip Bayless needed an African-American to sit across the desk and argue with him. He foolishly picked Stephen A. Smith. You got to be careful in those situations. Don't trust nobody because Stephen A. Smith proved to be exactly what he was, a snake. He backbit Bayless, got him out of there. He backbit Max Kellerman, got him out of there. But when you deal with snakes, you get what snakes are. Snakes. You know, there's that proverb. What is it? A dude takes a thorn out of a damn tiger, and the tiger eats him. He goes, you knew what I was when you met me. That's this. So now Skip Bayless is talking. Skip Bayless says, and I know this to be true, Stephen A. Smith begged him to help him return to ESPN. He would call me every day saying he's ashamed ESPN made him crawl back to the worldwide network. About time Bayless stood up. Yeah, it is. Stephen A. Smith's full of shit. Nah, do I care? No. But Bayless, you were stupid. You had a nice show, but if you didn't know he was going to backstab you, I can't help you. Here's Bayless.
We had about a 3 or 4 year run where Stephen A. got pushed out the back door in Bristol. I mean, they did not renew him, and I don't know, you'd have to ask him the real backstory. But he came out here to Fox Sports Radio, and he was here for 2 years. And you can ask my wife about this. He would call me every day and say, can you get me back on the worldwide leader? And I would beat on every door in that building. You can ask them all if I didn't just keep saying, what are we doing? This is ridiculous. He's gifted. He's a force. We got to get him back here. And finally, I think it took 2 years. They, imposed their will on him, because he was too full of himself, I guess, and made him sort of crawl back, if you will. And they let him ease back in on New York radio and writing for New York ESPN.com. I was just ashamed of it. But I kept fighting because then I was going solo on First Take with a rotation of guest debaters.
Yeah, you were stupid. I mean, you just were. Now you had a good run, made a lot of money, but God knows snake's a snake. All right, the woke mob is pissed. The woke mob in Massachusetts is pissed, ladies and gentlemen, and they're out to get Democrat. Think about that, Massachusetts Democratic Congressman Sam Moulton, for the mere sin. Listen to what he said. The mere sin of saying conservatives are right. Men don't belong in women's sports. How about that? Can you imagine that is even an ongoing debate? I think men belong in men's sports. I think if you're transitioning from a man to a woman, go play with the men. I think if you're transitioning from a woman to a man, go play with the men. There is no steadfast rule for this. There isn't. There's nothing. There's no steadfast rule. The rule is simple. Apparently, everybody go play with the women. Why? Anyway, this Congressman, Seth Moulton, made the dreaded mistake of saying women shouldn't compete against men. Democrats spend way too much time trying not to offend, really, anyone rather than being brutally honest about the challenges many Americans face. I have 2 little girls. I don't want them getting run over on a playing field by a male or formerly male athlete. But as a Democrat, I'm supposed to be afraid to say that. We're in the business of preaching as opposed to listening. Boy, is that true. I'd say that's true for both parties. We're a party that's very arrogant. Yes. If you don't agree with us 100% with our dogmatic views on certain issues, then you're not only wrong, you're a bad person. Raise your hand if you've experienced the wrath of a little Democratic D-bag mad at you for not having the same views. Oh. On Sunday, Moulton's colleagues planned a rally outside his office to protest. Think about that. Moulton's stance on male participation in women's sports. Really? In the wake of Donald Trump's election and Seth Moulton's most transphobic comment, we always go to some name calling that sounds really bad. That's what they always go to. I am working with the local LGBT organization, local leaders on a large rally in Salem. They're trying to burn the witch. Outside of Moulton's office, Salem City Councilor Kyle Davis said via Fox News Digital, the rally is meant to express first and foremost to the trans community that we stand in solidarity with them, but also to communicate to Sam Moulton that we do not agree with his stance and his willingness to throw this community under the bus. All he said was dudes shouldn't play against girls. How is that? So here's the large rally, like 50 people. Any adult male sporting the great American penis will tell you that women don't belong playing against men and men don't belong playing against women. Now, all I'm going to tell you, can you put that thing up? I want to see what Clay's tweet says. All I know is this. A Democrat congressman said he didn't want girls to have to play against boys. Democrats are now staging a protest. These people are insane. They're insane. Agree with us or you shall perish. But yet, those other people are Nazis, not us. You people are nuts. No, you guys are insane. Noted bad teammate. What have I told you? I've told you you can never win in the NFL with a dipshit diva wide receiver. They got 2 on Cincinnati. Not 1, 2. You know what? Joe Burrow's out there balling. Jamar Chase, he can suck it. Noted horseshit teammate Jamar Chase didn't exactly offer up words of encouragement to his kicker, Evan McPherson, after he missed 2 costly field goals during the Bengals' loss to the Chargers Sunday night. He also used the mic to deflect blame on his coaches. He is a diva Hall of Famer. Let's hear from the great one, Jamar Chase. No, man, you don't understand. He's great. Okay, go ahead.
Honestly, I don't know, man. I have no clue. I still believe in the guys in his locker room, though. We just got to find ways to finish.
You've seen Evan that finish. Like, I've heard everybody obviously knows you need to do. What do you do
How do I do it? I don't know. Ask Zach. Ask the coaches. Don't ask me. That's not my job.
to finish?
I play football on the field. I don't call plays for us, so I can't really do nothing.
You think that's part of the finishing factor is plays stuff?
I don't know.
You've seen it?
I wasn't saying nothing.
You've seen Evan obviously make plenty of big kicks. Obviously, he missed 2 tonight. What do you say to him? Do you say anything? What's going through your mind?
Nothing, but he knows to make those kicks. That's why we paid him those bucks to make those kicks in crunch time.
Did you guys change anything in the second half?
Did we change anything?
Yeah, you had that great 9-minute run there. We get the 3 touchdowns.
We didn't change nothing. We just stayed with our offense and executed.
Did he say anything to you after the goal ball?
Nah, I mean, shit, we both mess up. We don't talk to each other. We know what we do wrong. That's why we pros.
That's why we pros. I'm a facist. You can tell he's a child. You can tell he's an immature, insecure little child. You can tell he's had his ass kissed since the time he got in high school. And you can tell he's a pain in the prick every single day. Now, I'm going to call my friend Teddy Karras, whose son's a lineman. He's probably going to tell me he's a great guy. But you watch that there, anybody can tell he is a little child prick. Spoiled, entitled, and you don't win with him. I don't give a damn what Jamar Chase is. I don't give a damn what Jamar Chase is. It doesn't bother me 1 second. But I love being right. I do. I love being right until that changes. See, but that's only going to get worse. Let me ask you a question. Other than Randy Moss and maybe Chris Carter, name me a diva wide receiver whose antics got better over the years. Ooh, great question, Double Schnizzle. I know. Randy Moss had to. He wanted to finally win something. So Randy Moss, who's pretty smart, went out to New England, played great, shut up, played hard, did his thing. But name me another one. You can't. It gets worse because they'll make just enough plays, catch enough balls, make so much money, and hang out with their fellas, their crew, their posse, whatever you want to call it, that'll tell them they're great. Rarely changes, and you never win with them. Hey, by the way, I'm looking around. How's Buffalo doing? How's Buffalo doing without Diggs? And how the Titans doing with the mad crapper, DeAndre Hopkins? I've told the world forever. The mad crapper, DeAndre Hopkins, pain in the ass. When he crapped up an entire hotel room, he and some idiot wide receiver from Rutgers decided it was a good idea to take a dump, wipe it all over the walls of a hotel, costing $15,000 to $20,000 damage at the combine. I said at the time, he's an idiot. You'll never win with him. Never have. Anyway, the Seattle Storm are under investigation for claims that coaches harassed and bullied players over their performance. Good. Why wouldn't you harass and bully players over their performance? You play like crap, I'm going to harass you. You play like crap, I'm going to bully you. I'm the coach. Shut up. I mean, the definitions are always interesting to me. The definition of verbal abuse is always fascinating. Everything's verbal abuse. Oh, my God. Everything's mistreatment. Everything's harassing and bullying now. Hey, man, get your ass in the gym. What are you doing? You want to be great? Get in the gym. You're bullying me. I got to tell you, I'm probably bullied every day of my – if that's bullying, I probably bullied every day of my coaching career, probably my college basketball career, my playing career. The WNBA Storm, they're under investigation. The Storm coaches are being investigated by the organization for alleged player mistreatment. A source with knowledge of the situation confirmed to ESPN. The Sun-Times reported that the Storm are investigating their coaching staff. They've hired a law firm to look into accusations of harassment and bullying by the coaches regarding player performance. So what? I'm the wrong person. Like, I don't care. What can I tell you? Bullying don't matter to me. I know it's supposed to. I know I'm supposed to sit here and say that it does. It doesn't. No, it doesn't. No, I mean, you get mad at me all you like, but you know what? There's no such thing as bullying in my world. Mistreatment, sure. I always told players, I'm going to cuss, yell, scream, make you do stuff, but I'm never going to touch you. I'm never going to hit you. I'm never going to take your food away or anything stupid like that. I'm simply going to rip your ass and push you as hard as I can. And then when you're done, you're going to have some of the greatest stories ever. And they do. And I'm happy. Never bet on the Cowboys. Never, ever, under no circumstances are you to ever bet on the Cowboys. True story. Last night. First play of the game. I watched that idiot, Stephon Diggs. One of the flying, ruin your team Diggs brothers. Not Stephon Diggs, the other Diggs, whatever the hell his name is. He jogged on the first play of the game, Trayvon Diggs. He jogged on the first play of the game. So I changed my bet. I'm like, whoa, no. I am not betting on this team. So I had a $100 bet on the Cowboys, +7. I immediately changed it and went to $150 on true story. I went the other way on the Texans. I don't even think the Texans are any good. But I'm telling you, the Cowboys don't try. I mean, I know they're bad. I know they fumble. I know they do all that, but they don't try. Like, it's like this kid for the Colts, Julian Blackmon, number 32. He don't try. He does not try. He pulls up. Now he'll try and go after a ball. Cowboys don't try. Micah Parsons, he don't try. Offensive line, they don't try. Wide receivers, I had enough of watching that CeeDee Lamb. Even my wife's like, I just happened to turn it on. And she's like, who's that clown? I go, that's one of the great players they tell me in the league. Diva, pain in the ass, wide receiver. Let me ask you a question. Let's just go through this. Do the Vikings are having a really good year? They got a diva wide receiver. The Eagles have a diva wide receiver. Bills have a diva wide receiver. Chiefs have a diva wide receiver. Steelers have a diva wide receiver. A little bit, George Pickens. He's closest thing. Ravens have a diva wide receiver. Chargers have a diva wide receiver. No, 49ers do. They say Deebo Samuel's been a complete pain in the ass. How's that going for the team? Now, you're going to tell me a wide receiver doesn't have that much influence. You're out of your mind. You never. Don't say that ever publicly. Do not say that. Do not say to anybody, it's just a wide receiver. He doesn't have influence. No. The wide receiver is the coolest guy on the team. Think about it. Big fat linemen, they ain't cool. Cornerbacks, little mouthy guys. Linebackers, no. Wide receiver is the coolest guy on the team. He's the guy that gets you in the club. He's the guy that gets you with the rappers. He's the guy getting $30, $40 million. Quarterbacks, they're not going to be that guy. They're too busy going into the office at 5 a.m. unless you're Anthony Richardson. No. They have massive impact. Just think about it. I mean, I'm just going to sit here and I'll go through them all with you. The diva wide receiver sucks. It's Tuesday. The diva I'll ask Dallas Clark about it. You know, is there anything worse in the NFL than the pain? And Dallas Clark's going to say this, well, I never played with one. Reggie Wayne's great. Marvin Harrison's great. Yeah, I get it. We all get it. I know. But I'm just telling you, you look at these standings, you go through the best team. Buffalo, no. Miami, yes. Tyreek Hill gets arrested. They're 4-6. I'm talking about the good teams now. Cincinnati, yes. They're 4-7. Baltimore, Pittsburgh, no. Houston, no. Kansas City, no. Chargers, no. Denver, no. Philadelphia, no. Washington, Terry McLaurin's one of the great guys ever. Detroit, no. Amon St. Brown's one of the great guys ever. Arizona, I don't even know who the hell they got. Let's go the other way. San Francisco, yes. They do. They do. Bears, yes. Hell, DJ Moore walked out of bounds in the middle of a play. Now think about that. He walked out of bounds in the middle of play. But you don't understand. Okay, yeah, I don't understand. Dallas Cowboys, yes. Now the other teams, do the Green Bay Packers have a diva wide receiver at 7-3? No. I think I've made my point. I do. I think I've made my point. I can't stand them. They ruin teams. I don't care if you're black, white, green, or purple. Is there any white diva wide receivers? I mean, if we're going to make everything race, might as well ask that question. It's an easy question. Hey, by the way, an announcement. I'm going to try to do this. Saturday at like 5:30 in the morning, I'm leaving my house to go catch a bus of my buddies, to go to the Ohio State game. Gary asked me to get some content. I may do, as long as I'm sober, because I'm drinking. Like, I don't give a damn. I'm going there to have a great time. I'm not drinking at 8 in the morning, but I'm going to try to provide content for you all day on our website here at OutKick. I got press passes, so Lee and I are going to try to get on the field. The cast of characters on the bus is middling. It's not my normal crazy-ass cast of characters. It's more adult, but you know what I mean. So we'll try to do, look for it, we'll try to do Saturday kind of a day in the life of me going to the biggest football game in Indiana football history. I'm bad at that. I really am. I'm going to try. We'll be right back. Dallas Clark, Colts next.
Why is it, having laid all of this out, understanding how really vital these Guardian caps could be into saving someone from having a traumatic head injury, is it that Tua Tagovailoa has been cleared to return to play, right? He just had a concussion several weeks ago, week 2 of the season. He had that collision with DeMar Hamlin when they were playing the Bills. And why is it that at this point in time, during his NFL career, you know, he's had 3 concussions, also 1 in college, is he refusing to wear a Guardian cap? This makes absolutely no sense to me, and I don't think it would make sense to anybody else. But still, Tua is defending his position, having a press conference just this week saying this.
You wear a Guardian cap?
Nope.
Why?
Personal choice.
Are you, will this change your style of play, your decision to scramble or run or things like that?
It's got to be smart. That's it. It's got to be smart.
Okay, you've got to be smart, but how are you going to prevent a player who's coming at you running full speed with a hard helmet? You've also got the hard helmet from crashing right into you and putting you in the position that we've seen you already 4 times in your career, right? How are you going to play smart to prevent that? It's just like saying, for example, if you don't drive drunk, that another drunk driver doesn't have the capability of still taking your life. Like, that logic makes absolutely no sense. Not to mention, Tua went on to expand on this, saying that he trusts his current helmet's design, which, by the way, there are specific helmets that are made for certain position groups in the NFL. The one that Tua wears is specifically built for quarterbacks. It's not just some generic helmet. It's got the whole package. If you look at it, it's got top-ranked safety features that are designated by the NFL and the NFLPA. So yes, it is a safer helmet than maybe other helmets he could opt to wear, but why would you not take it a step further?
You know, 15 years on the radio in India. I don't think I ever had Dallas Clark on my show, but I've also, in talking to Dallas off air, he didn't know that I played and coached with Coach Knight for 16 years. He referred to Bob Knight as a sweet man. I got to tell you, Dallas, that man wasn't a sweet man. He wasn't a mean guy. He was a nice guy underneath. But no, I've called him a lot of things. He's called me a lot of things. But sweet men has never been in that conversation, so I appreciate you adding a new verb or whatever the hell it is.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry I didn't Google you and know your college.
No.
That's on me. That's on me. That you did definitely kind of just like Johnny one up me. I mean, because that was my dream. I grew up here in Iowa, and Iowa through and through. But there's something about those candy stripes, candy cane stripe warm ups. And the way they played basketball, and obviously I love Tom Davis. I think it was kind of one of those, like, my dad loved Iowa and Tom Davis. And so I think it was kind of one of those, like, I can't cheer for what my dad was. It's either you love the team that your dad cheered for or you despise them. And not that I definitely didn't despise them, but there's something about, I fell in love with Calbert Chaney and Damon Bailey and Brian Evans and Alan Henderson and all those guys.
Damn.
Like, I was just like, and then big dog Glenn Robinson from Purdue. Like, we, forget him and his tall sock. Can someone please stop the big dog? Like, just, that was Big Ten basketball. Like, that is, and we obviously had A.C. Earl and B.J. Armstrong and, our boys just settled. And so, I mean, it was just, you could just tell when I look back and think back of Bob Knight and, that was my era of, like, I could definitely tell my love and passion for sports was just raging, because I can go back and I can still watch those games in my head and sit in the living room and then wanting to go out in the backyard and, shooting hoops or running and playing catch with my brother. And so yeah, Bob Knight, like I know Dan, I hate to come on your show, by the way, thank you for having me. But I hate to come on your show and say, yeah, it's your fault. It's your fault that you didn't find the sweetness in Coach Knight. That's all that's all I can say.
It was. We ate a million meals together. We've been to my house, been to his house, golf damn near every day, and I never, not one time. I will tell you this, though. We tried to recruit Settles. Rafe LaFrance was coming to Indiana. And Knight screwed that up so bad that we got in a fist fight. That's a different story on that. But
no, Rafe LaFrance. I mean, dude, that guy, LaFrance. He walked on water here in Iowa.
I know. And Tom Davis had been fired, and the dad and I, we were close. He was coming, and Knight could not have effed that recruiting up. Anyway, and by the way,
that's a
as
great
a player,
I did not know that.
I want you. Oh, he couldn't have fucked it up more, but as a player, I'm going to let you in on a secret. Every player hated those effing candy stripes. Every player hated those candy stripes. Hated
what?
Them. They made you look, they were so uncomfortable. They made you look like a clown running out there. Every player, if you ever notice, and I don't know if it's changed now, but if you ever notice, talking about Calbert and those guys, as soon as they could take them damn things off, even sitting on the bench, we took those damn things off sitting on the bench, Dallas. We got rid of them. Get those freaking things off of me. Oh, well, hated them.
Oh my God. I thought it was the biggest. It was the biggest swag advantage. I mean, I don't know. I think you guys running out on any assembly hall or wherever, it didn't matter where you guys played. It was like, oh damn, here we go. Like, it just like, I don't know. It was awesome.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I was doing a show in Indy, and we were when you were playing with Peyton and those guys. And I got to ask you a question. I just did a thing on this. I'm watching, and I coached for 15 years as well, 20 years, 25 years, and I cannot stand diva wide receivers. I just can't stand them. I couldn't stand diva dribblers and little dribblers in basketball, and I couldn't stand. Let me ask you a question. In a locker room, Reggie Wayne didn't seem like a diva. Marvin Harrison seemed like he never spoke to anybody. Like, the diva wide receiver has never won anything. Randy Moss had to be a human being when he went over to New England. I'm on a crusade here. The diva wide receiver sucks, Dallas Clark.
Yeah. I mean, I think you're onto something, Dan. And I think, and here's the deal. Like, and especially, I mean, good Lord, we're talking 2 eras, right? I mean, when I played and what it is today, like it is, like when I played, branding yourself was just on the cusp of something, we thought it was cool when D Free had his own clothing line. We're like, holy crap, D Free's got his own clothing line, and, like that stuff was just unheard of. And, obviously Peyton had his thing going on with, every company and, but just the whole marketing yourself and, so Dan, I completely agree with you, but it's harder for these kids. It's harder. I mean, they're growing up and now you're talking about NIL. Now you're talking about all that. It's creeping in earlier now. Now they're getting exposed to fantasy land way too early. So you haven't even seen divas yet, right? I mean, we're talking, you thought divas were before, like the diva is just getting stronger, I believe, because Marv and Reg are dogs. Like those guys, could they swag and could they look great and look like freaking like awesome doing their thing and go out and kick ass every freaking Sunday? Absolutely. But some of these kids have it backwards where they got to look good before. Just go freaking play ball. All right, go play ball and let all that other stuff take care of itself. But it's hard when, you can market yourself and heck, kids are making more money than NFL players right now. So, figure that out.
No, I get it. No, you're right. A guy offered me a coaching job, was going to make more money a year ago. Pretty good job at a big-time university. And I said, no, I'm not taking it. He said, why? I said, I hate players. I said, I'm just the wrong guy. I'm the wrong guy. Like, hey, yeah, I love it. I'd like, and the guy's like, really? I go, yeah. I would be the wrong guy. I would say the wrong thing. I'd get canceled. You'd get fired and it would just be a mess. So, no. Hey, I do want to ask you a couple things.
It's a big man to admit that.
Go ahead.
That's good. Good for you.
Dallas, you got to know who you are, and you got to know what you don't know, and you do. Why'd you never wear gloves?
Yeah, no.
Why'd you never wear gloves?
Oh, well, the truth is, I walked on at Iowa's linebacker, and I wore gloves, and I wore the biggest pads because in 1999 that's what we did, is bigger the better. Like stupid. But that's the way it was. And so I wore gloves. And then when Coach Ferentz asked me to switch to tight end, I thought he was a lunatic and hated the idea because my older brother played football. He played linebacker at Iowa State. And I wanted to be better than him. And I want, because that's all you want to do is beat your brother. And so I'm like, no. Give me a time. I'm on the 5-year plan. Like in 5 years, I'm going to play special teams. I'm going to be a badass. Right. I was like, no, he's like, I think tight end might be your spot. And so finally, after about a year, I gave in, and thank God. Otherwise, Dan, you and I would never met. So this worked out well. Went to tight end. So I was playing catch that summer with my roommate and best friend, my quarterback, Kyle McCann, who taught me about everything. And about, his position, like the routes, understanding all that. And we were playing catch that summer, and I just took my gloves off because they were sweating and they're just all wet and crappy. And I took them off, and it was like, just to be able to feel the ball, and then I felt faster, I felt smoother, I felt like an athlete. It was weird. Like I put the gloves on, I feel like you can like it's just kind of I don't know. It was just kind of like, over the top. Sylvester Stallone, when he turns his hat over, to the side, it's like a switch, right? I think the gloves are like a switch for some players. And for me, it was just like, man, just give me that dirt. Like I want to, gladiator style, just give me that, feel that dirt, and just let's freaking go to battle. And so it was, and man, the locker room, when I got to the Colts, like they were like looking at me like, bro, you're going to put gloves on, right? I'm like, I don't, bro, put gloves on. Reg, Mar, dude, wear gloves. I'm like, I don't think, the whole camp, it was just kind of like, is he going to wear gloves? Is he not going to wear gloves? I'm like, guys, I don't think I'm going to wear gloves. I think I'm all right. And so just rolled with it. So it was, and then obviously it became, you don't even realize, it's the statement you're making, right? And then you look at shit, everyone's wearing gloves, right? Now you got quarterbacks wearing gloves. So it's crazy.
I got to know Tony Dungy, and one thing I've said about, I worked for Coach Knight, and Coach Knight would swear and all that kind of stuff. When I coached, swore all this. I feel like Tony Dungy, without swearing or even maybe yelling, can make you feel like, boy, did you let everybody down?
Dan, I was talking to a friend, and this exact conversation got brought up, and I think a great coach, if you can get your players to go to battle for you because they don't want to let you down, you can do whatever you want with those players. Like you are a great coach, because there was nothing worse than disappoint. The word is disappointing. If you disappointed Coach Dungy, like you couldn't sleep that night. Like if you let him, it was that man. I don't know how he does, because by the way, I'm proudly wearing state. The high school I helped coach. Our high school here, Humble High School. We're playing in the state championship game on Friday, baby. I'm so jacked. I help the receivers.
Let's go!
And help with the offensive side of the ball. And I tell you what, it's a whole nother story. But like coaching high school kids, and so now it goes into this conversation, right? I mean, it's like that's. Like you become and you repeat. I repeat more Tom Moore lines. I repeat Coach Dungy lines. You are who you are, right? Coach Morgan, my tight ends coach at Iowa, Coach Ferentz. And then you look at your catalog of coaches, like, holy crap, I had the best coaches in the game. And so it's so much fun. But Coach Dungy, he didn't yell. He never yelled. The only time I saw him yell was my rookie year. My very first game, Cleveland. We're playing in Cleveland. We won 9-6, just a barn burner. And oh my gosh, Nick Harper didn't blitz or didn't do so. He did something, and he freaking lost his mind. And so this whole about 4 months of being around this guy who's never yells, just smiles, and just sweet. Awesome dude, he loses his mind, and I'm like, oh, there it is. There's the Minnesota Gopher tenacity, safety,
right.
Quarterback. So he has it in him, and it's amazing that and obviously he yells, and he's not Mother Teresa, I'm not saying that, but it's not the Tom Moore lashing. It's not the Bob Knight tongue lashing. It's not the Howard Mudd. It's like, oh man, it's disappointing him. I'd rather have Tom Moore and Howard yell at me all day than disappoint Coach Dungy. Like, you just didn't want to do that.
It's funny. You mentioned Nick Harper. I immediately think, come on, don't argue with your wife the night before a game. What are you doing? Don't do that. Stay in a hotel.
And don't worry, every Colts fan listening to this thought of that too.
Of course.
But hey, things happen the way they're supposed to happen.
When I want to move the conversation from Dungy to Manning. When I'm a year behind Isaiah at Indiana, and Isaiah Thomas would come back and play in the summer. All these guys that were in the NBA would come back and we'd play. And, I'm a freshman, and here they all are. So I'll never forget. The only time I was ever intimidated on a basketball court was playing with Isaiah Thomas. I did not want to drop a pass. You know what I mean? I didn't want to miss a shot. Was it a little bit that way with Manning?
It was that way for the whole offense. Dan, I talked about this at the Ring of Honor. Like literally – so that was back in the day. You get drafted. The very next weekend, you have a mandatory training, like a mini camp. Like everyone's there. It's not like what it is now, right? So like literally draft on Friday, Saturday. I don't even remember what it was. Literally 7 days later, you are in your city, in your town, in your huddle. Somehow learn some offensive plays, and I get in that huddle. And I'm looking around, and you see Edgerrin James, Marcus Pollard, Tariq Glenn, Jeff Saturday, Ryan Deem, Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne. About 5 of them are Hall of Famers. Everyone else is badasses. And you're just like, okay, guys, I'll go get the pizza. What do you guys want for after practice? Because obviously, I am not needed. All right, I know where I'm not wanted. Well, not wanted, but not needed, I guess. But yeah, it was. So talk about like, okay, all these guys in my mind are perfect. I got to play like that. I don't be the guy that every morning we're watching film. Hey, Clark, guess what? You screwed up again. Hey, Marvin, great job. Hey, Reg, great job. Hey, Dallas, you suck. I did not want the meetings to go like that. So it was great motivation to ball out, and what great people to watch every week than some of the best route runners in Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison, to watch freaking one of the toughest dudes, Edgerrin James, and all these guys practice. Like, you opened up talk about prima donnas. Like, they couldn't exist in our world. They couldn't exist on that team. It wasn't allowed. Like, I mean, Marvin Harrison, one of the best practice players ever, and everyone thinks like, oh, no, that dude didn't wear gloves during the week. And then he wore gloves. I'm like, why don't you wear? He's like, it's harder to catch the ball with no gloves. So I want to make it challenging during the week. And so then come game day, he can be Spider-Man and catch everything and just be a dude. And so when you're around those guys, greatness or failure, there's no in between. No in between. Yeah. There's no, and it was non-negotiable. It wasn't even like, oh, you'll get it. Oh, that's cute. Like, oh, you're close. No, you get, as Tom Moore would say, we don't just go on one. There's snap counts. There's words for certain snap count. I mean, it's good Lord, it's awesome. It's take me back.
Isn't that amazing? Like, I hear people. I had a son that played at Ohio State and Michigan basketball, and I'm like, dude, you're there for 5 years. You ought to try to get a 6th year. I go, and a 7th year, because they're letting them do it. Like, get a 10th year. I'd go back. I'd take an ass whipping. I'd take Knight cussing me out, running the stat. I'd take it you know what? Because the real world's the real world. Take me back is a great way to put it, Dallas.
Well, Dan, and I just literally just said this. Someone was talking. I can't remember how the conversation went, but they're like, "Oh, I bet you don't miss that." Like, someone got killed, like hit on the, in a football game or something. Like, oh, I bet you don't miss. I'm like, see, right there, I am different than you. Right there, I am the 2%. The 98% is watching this and going, ooh, and I'm watching it going, frick, yeah, let's go. Get up from that hit, freaking point the first down and say, is that all you got, defense? Is that all hard you can hit? Let's go. And freaking break their will. Watch them break their will. That's the Tom Mooreism. And I'm getting goosebumps. Like that's why we're different. I mean, you look at these people and it's hard to not look at them like they're complete morons and like they said the stupidest thing in the world. And you got to give them, some empathy and be like, oh, wow, I'm sorry, you don't understand. Like, you don't understand. You don't understand. You don't understand. And it's like freaking, it's like, oh, do you miss breathing? Like, oh, do you miss the oxygen? like, good Lord, that's life.
Right. I'm like, wait a second here. Hold on.
It's really hard to like. It's really hard. It's really hard. Like, it's just like, and it just shows you though, like, and you try not to sound like whatever you sound like when you say stuff like this, but it's just like when people don't like they don't truly. And what's cool about it is like even with Hard Knocks and all this stuff and how the game has. I mean, like people are seeing, the hell they see the combine now. The combine used to be so secretive, and I mean they get to see pretty much every walk of this profession, and they still don't get it. And that's still not captured. On social media, and So maybe Omaha Productions will be able to create something to grab that essence, to truly, so then people don't go up to ex-players and go, "Oh, I bet you don't miss that." Huh, what? You want a fist fight now or later? Like, what are you talking about?
When Coach Knight was coaching, people would say, "Dan, you don't miss that." I go, "Oh, are you kidding me? I miss it like it was my job." Like, what are you talking about? Give it to me. Give me more of it. Let me have more.
Yeah.
What are you talking? Like, people always ask, like, when I play golf, you get to, I'm 62. You get to my age. What are you competing in? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, okay, you play pickleball with your wife, whatever. So when I go play golf with my buddies, I bet every hole. I'll bet every shot. If somebody wants to bet, I'll bet it. Like, hey, Doc, $5 from here. Great. Because what else do you compete in? You know what I mean? That's the thing. You miss, right? You miss that feeling. You miss that juice.
Dan, put me in the ground. If I can't compete, put me in the ground. And if I make it to an old man's home, I feel bad for those cribbage players because I'm gonna beat their ass. All right. So I'm coming. All right. So just in the future, I'm coming. So you already know. But yeah, it is. There is nothing, and I think that's the starting point. I think that's the starting point of being really good athlete. I think that's the part, that's the foundation. Then, can you run? Can you, and that's all the other intangibles. But that, like, needing to win, wanting to win, beating someone like that,
or even getting beat. Right?
Amen.
Or even getting beat. Yeah, let's just go.
That's only given by God. Like, you can't fake that. You can't read a book about it. You can't learn it. Like, it's either you got it or you don't. And there's no, and that's what every level, like I always said, the NFL is a true equalizer. Like, the NFL, like it exposes you. Like, by the NFL, like, if you because you can cruise through high school and not love football. You can cruise through college and not love football. At some point in the NFL, and what's sad is I think you can still cruise through the NFL sometimes and not truly love the game, which is sad. But most guys, like, all right, this, I'm done. Like, I can't, it equalizes you. I mean, it's just, it's just the same way why there's just some great college players, and then they go in the NFL. It's like, whoa, what happened? Like, that's, it doesn't translate. It's just, it equalizes. It's either you have this level of ability or you don't. And there's no, like, you can't go to Target and buy it.
It's funny. I get NBA scouts calling me around the draft, and they asked me because I was doing games at ESPN, so and I'm like, you know what? One thing I've learned about sports, particularly the NBA and NFL, is, particularly in the NBA, there's a lot of talented dudes. If you don't love it, it ain't gonna happen. So yeah, this dude can do this, and this, but if he ain't married to it, it ain't happening. And it just is. In basketball, there's so many dudes that can run and jump, so many dudes that can shoot, so many foreign players. You know what I mean? And so people's a McDonald's All-American. Who gives a shit if you're a McDonald's? Slobodan Vojinovic over there in Bosnia is busting his ass to come over. You know what I mean? I mean, you got to love it, man.
And there's nothing worse, nothing worse than seeing guys that have talent pouring out their ears. And missing that component. They're missing the love. It's like, like, what are we doing? What are we, like, how do you not, like, isn't it fun to be able to go dominate somebody? Like, how do you not, like, get, like you should, like, never want to stop doing that. Like, I don't get it. And then, they focus on it's hard, or, my body, or, like, all the noise. They're letting all the outside noise in. It's like, no. You get this much time to be on top of the world in an athletic arena, and you're gonna let, like, a little soreness take? No, freaking, let's go! Come on. Oh yeah.
You mentioned given from God. I told a player one time, I said, you know all the stupid shit you've done in your life? He's like, yeah. I go, you're not going to hell for that. You're going to hell because God gave you all this ability and you're a piece of shit, you're a punk, and you won't play.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. That's a bigger sin.
How quickly would I be fired?
I know God said no, all sins are equal, but I think you might be onto something. I think I think that one was left out.
You're an idiot.
Don't use all your talent. You're done. I don't got room for you.
Go burn. Go burn. Go burn.
Hit the down button on the elevator.
Hey, I got to get your number. I got to get you on. I can do an afternoon show in Indy. I got to get you on in Indy. I got to. You got to come on this week. You got
all
to.
Right.
Is that all right?
Yeah. It's raining
well, you're
here.
prepared next week.
Work my ground.
Next week. All right. Hey, Dallas, this is a great time, man. I went way too long. I'm supposed to stop at 10. It's 10:15. So, what the hell? It's my show. It's got my name on it.
Oh, and by the way,
show.
I forgot. Sorry to cut you off, but I forgot my hair is also dyed. Don't think I'm going through like a midlife crisis over there. And, so the thing is, you can make it to the Dome. So in Iowa, growing up, make it to the Dome is like, it was a dream of mine. And so, Dan, how about this? These boys I got to check a box on my dream that I thought was over because I didn't make it to the Dome because we stunk in high school. We got 50 points. I mean, it was bad. I was on a bad team, but man, I wouldn't change it. So I never didn't get close to the Dome. The Uni Dome is University of Northern Iowa. They have a dome. Yeah. That's where we have our state finals, semifinals, and finals. And so our boys, we rallied and we made it we played Friday. We had a big comeback win. So these boys are like fulfilling my dream and their own dream. I mean, I'm just basically in their dream. And to be able to be at the Dome. So what the thing is the kids all dye their hair. It's either shave your head or dye your hair. Coach said, no, your helmet will fit weird. Dye your hair. So the kids all dyed, and the kids were like, hey, coach, if we make it to the finals, you dye your hair? I'm like, I'll do something, so I'm not straight Eminem. I'm more like NSYNC. I thought go a little style than just the freaking Eminem style with it. And so a little less Marshall Mathers and more JT. So that is why the hair is what it is. So there you go. And Dan, I don't know what you would do if you were on our coaching staff, maybe put like a fake beard on or something, or a fake, maybe a blonde wig, because hey, it's team bonding. Like you got to be part of the team. So I don't know what
I'd do something.
We'd figure out something.
I'd dye my head. I'd dye the skin. I never comment on anybody's hair. Hey Dallas, I saw the hair. I saw the hair. I respect the hair, and obviously,
were you having like a moral dilemma where you're like, do I comment? Do I comment?
No, I don't comment on anybody's hair. I respect people that have hair. I respect the head. This head is size 8. It's got nothing here. I respect hair.
Well, believe me, walking around, like going to the coffee shop this morning, people don't have that filter. It's like, holy crap, what'd you do to your hair? So that's that's kind of what you get in small town Iowa. We just let it go.
Do players? I know they know you got the Ring of Honor this year. I get, and I know you're a legend in Iowa. I know in Indianapolis, across the NFL. Do players know of your greatness?
Dan, my kids don't know. The best part of the whole Ring of Honor it's kind of like I don't know if you've seen in Dumb and Dumber where Lloyd says, "Hey, go brag about me so I don't have to do it myself." It was really cool to see the whole town of Indianapolis brag about me and just watch my kids like light bulbs were just constantly just like, holy cow, holy cow. And then they see my name. It's like, holy cow. Like they have no clue. Like my daughter, she's 9. She's like, Dad, you're kind of good, weren't you? I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I was around great people. I had no choice. Like it was, it had been a disappointment if I wasn't great around these great people. And so it was just really cool. So, yeah. And so these kids, they, To be honest with you, this is my second year. I coached last year, and they would just, and I think I was speaking Chinese or something because I was like all fired up, and they were kind of like, you're not normal. Like I'm like, and these high school kids are like, yeah, football, cool. I'm like, hey, let's go. We got to run this route. We're going to run the 5 yards. The route is 5 yards, so we're going to get to 5 yards. We don't paint lines to waste time. We have lines so we know where to make our breaks. So we get to 5 yards. You got that? All right, run it again. And they're like, can I go back to biology? So it was just one of those things. So, but this year, like they're like, okay, he's not going to change. I didn't change a little bit. But I feel like I'm connecting with them more. Like they're like responding more. And so it is cool to see them like, oh, he's like, I don't know. It was interesting. It was just, it's been a unique situation. It's been fun. It's been awesome. But yeah, I certainly don't walk around with my Super Bowl ring and hand out highlight video. Hey, YouTube, Google me, kids. I'm cool. Certainly not that guy, So it's been a joy.
That's our guy here, Signetti, the football coach at Indiana. Hey, I win. Google me. That's a big thing in the state of Indiana right now.
How about that guy? Google me. I win.
Google me.
Yep. All right. Bob Knight 2.0. There we go.
Oh,
that. I get. And here's the thing. And this is the beautiful thing. Like coaching. Because when we walk off the bus, Coach Ferentz would always do this when we played Penn State. He's like, man, if we're playing the football game on how we look coming off the bus, we will lose 10 times out of 10 against Penn State because those boys, they look good in their white pants and white pads, right? And we look like a bunch of Iowa boys, farm boys. So, but we gotta go play the game, And so we're we kind of have the same mentality with our crew here. We have played some teams that have some dudes, and our boys will run through you. We don't care how much bigger you are. And here's the deal. Like, it's a mindset. Like, we're telling these kids that they're invincible, but, and this is going to be my book, so if anyone wants to steal it, they can. But this is my grand idea. The trick is you have to, you can say it all you want. Coaches can say all the stuff they want to get their players to be great and do all this stuff. But if you don't believe that they can do it, they'll smell that a mile away, and they're like, nope. And then once it gets hard, done. But if you look at them and you can do this. Let's go. Like, if you don't believe that, if you have like, oh gosh, I really hope you can do it. Like, oh boy, we're gonna lose if you can't do it. Bull crap. That ain't the talk. We gotta do that right now. This is our series, So it's like, it's awesome. It is. I don't know what tangent I'm on right now, but it's freaking championship week. I'm losing my mind. I shouldn't even probably be drinking coffee. But hey, that's the way it's going to be.
Whose ass is Humble kicking on Friday night?
Dubuque Waller Catholic. All right. They're a good outfit. But man, if we just keep playing if our kids don't flinch, Dan, I feel really good. But if we kind of get because again, we are doing things that these kids kind of the Hoosier-ish, not that extreme, but we don't have any D1 kids. Every team we've played has that dude, right? Like, oh boy, you better stop 42. Oh boy, you better stop 11. We don't. Teams always say, it's like, man, that guy scores a touchdown. Okay, he can run. He can we're just good. We're just good, but we're not we don't have any we don't fill the stands with college coaches. That's for sure. So won't want it any other way. Won't want it. It's so much fun. So, but they're a good ball club. It comes down to just taking care of the ball and who wants it more. So it's going to be a battle. Come on over. 1:00 Friday, Unidome. Be there.
I'm headed. I've coached a basketball game in the Unidome when I was at Bowling Green. We coached again Northern Iowa. Beat their ass in that place too. Beat their ass in Bowling Green. Beat their ass at Iowa. I'm headed to Indiana, Ohio State. But I will tell you this: speaking as a Catholic kid from Northwest Indiana, outside of Gary, Indiana, us Catholics, we cheat. We cheat. We do. We cheat. I'm going to tell you right now. We freaking cheat. Let your players know there will be, what is it, J-pads, the tennis cans that are flattened down, wrapped up. You know that. We cheat. We cheat.
You know what? You can have God on your side. You can have the refs on your side. The Humboldt Wildcats are ready to play, baby. That's what it's about.
Yeah. 11-1, right?
Yeah, 11-1.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It's been a heck of a run.
I looked it up. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to play. No,
Hey,
I'm not. I
Google
went out
us.
for football, lasted two. I'm Googling you. I was one of them dudes. I went out for football. I'm like, yo, this ain't no fun. Oh, hell no. When's basketball? Where's the gym? Let's go. This ain't no fun. Screw this.
Coach, it's raining.
Hey, Dallas.
What are we doing out here?
Oh, man, it was 10,000 degrees. The team was bad, and I'm like, no. I'll be a tough guy in the basket.
You put your shirt on tomorrow morning, you look down, you have those 10 chest hairs. That's because you went out for football, all right, buddy? All right, you didn't get that from playing
That's
basketball.
right.
All right?
No.
Just telling you that.
I've always said, I don't care the age. If I hear you played high school, college football, I know you're tough. If I know you played high school or college basketball, I know you're a pussy. That's right. I know you are. That's it.